6. Creation is anything but illogical. We need only note the mathematical astonishments behind the workings of the universe, even with due regard for Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, which may be a misnomer for why matter congregates, and a partial answer to Democritus' early question of how atoms falling might yet intersect. Accepting this proof from design, to the extent of assuming a logical unfolding, we may venture that life is not born primarily to die, but to live, any more than an actor is hired merely to enter and exit, sans performance. Nor does the resplendent sun rise and the atmosphere spread its inviting blue for all of us to wail in the assumedly intelligent conceits of woe. We may enter unaware of why we suddenly find ourselves with the opportunity to perform on the stage of life. Learn to curtsy and do a dance, sing a song of love and achieve what we may, delight in applause and mortify in ridicule, befriend our fellow performers and grow fond of our audience, glory in whatever esteem we have won, and regret that our performance must one day end, only to have the hook come out and yank us to our exit with peremptory surprise. Yet we did have our time to delight and despair on life's sacred stage, make our contributions and suffer our setbacks, enjoy our accolades, and endure our disappointments. However we may regard the show, creation has decided it is far superior to a dark and empty stage. And, following its, we assume, wiser lead, we ought to decide to accept and be grateful for the opportunity to perform and realize that the quality of our performance is what should concern us most. 7. If creation is good, and we see ample reason to believe it is, for instance, in the captivating sparkle and facility of an eye, life in general contains more potential for joy than sullen death may ever countermand. 8. What may await in the hereafter is more likely to seem like all the world when a person decides not to let this world matter at all. 9. Does life itself help us adjust to its completion? We can observe that everything in the natural world has a lifespan. We know we had neither problems nor pleasures before we alighted into life, and might expect the same commotion-free eventuality when we depart from it. We lose sensation and capacity in parts of our bodies if they don't get a sufficient flow of oxygenated blood for even a brief period. Every cell of the skin we can touch, as well as the hair we can style, has already completed its pulsing life and is now performing a protective fulfillment before it sloughs off to its unitary oblivion. Even the reduced mental activity of sleep leaves us without concerns unless we chance to dream. When we pass out of life, we appear to slip into, in terms of consciousness, a last sleep, a hugely considerate way to bring down the curtain on the gift of life, and an intimation that consciousness may be, as the incisive, wronged Epicurus said, the beginning and end of individual experience, so that, in his words, death is nothing to us. Nature provides ample evidence that it is eager to get our blessed molecules back in circulation, not only by the swiftness of our body's decay, but throughout our lives by the speed with which it reclaims, for example, cells we burn to completion via a careless but enjoyable frolic in the sun. Finally, I know of few environmental occasions more redemptive by which I mean a wholesome reawakening of my spirit to the wonder of life, then witnessing the resplendent transformations of fall. 10. When we complete our lives, we appear to relinquish the natural miracle of consciousness. If we are correct, death is an event more observed than experienced, a tribulation more for the cognizant living than for those who now lack consciousness. 11. In our sorrow at a loss, it seems fitting to share a time of reverent togetherness and be grateful for the life, fulfilled and complete. 12. Each person's life partakes of the awesome natural cycle of birth, growth, fulfillment, completion, and the birth of youngsters. 13. How may we adjust to disease, disabilities, and the death of the young, other than by fear of the first, commiseration for the second, and mourning for the third? We may, of course, count our blessings, but we may also do more. We continue to improve our ways of treating disease and of moderating the travail that accompanies it. Though disabilities may make us more likely to dismiss this life, the more we try to live, the more nearly we approach a whole life, and the more we make it clear to any sensible and involved creator that we deserve a life without a disability. In the death of the young, there is an understandable disposition toward sorrow unbounded. Yet there is, to ameliorate it, a portion of the life to be grateful for, and, to do it justice, we ought to make a consoling place for it, the experiences we were able to share, and the memories we will always retain as gifts to memorialize. May the travails of illness help us more clearly appreciate the enthusiasms made possible by good health, a disability more in noble achievement, and a youthful death make more precious the moments alive. In the panoply of life, these misfortunes are, thankfully, relatively rare. But they call on us to be especially heroic and to adhere to our belief in the overall goodness, the irrefutable blessedness of life. 14. If you are in reasonable possession of your judgment and decide to complete your own life due to illness, depression, or any other intractable negativity, you ought, daring as the admission is, to have the right. Yet, in a society based on faith in life, I believe few would take advantage of a self-induced exit. 15. While all who feel cannot but experience a sympathetic response to excessive mourning, it does, I think, connote insensitivity to the greatness of the life for which we only weep. 16. In my final moments, if I have the grace of mental acuity, I would prefer, rather than relatives dripping tears as a remorseful libation toward my end, a review and celebration of my life, by turns solemn and jolly, and may the flowers arrive while I may still enjoy the paradisiacal splendor of their colors and lovely intercession of their fragrances. 17. When a life has been a fulfilled one, we have every reason to make the ceremony marking its completion primarily our hosanna for the life and to creation for having gifted it all other life and all else we may behold and participate in.